So first this evening, council bosses have told a High Court judge that government plans to use R.A.F Scampton to house asylum seekers should be quashed.
Today was the first day of a judicial review of the Home Office's decision to create accommodation for up to 2,000 migrants at the base. Emma Wilkinson has been listening to proceedings today and is live outside the High Court in London for us. And Emma, this is a really significant case for all involved.
Yes, in the 8 months of covering this story, the strength of feeling amongst those who don't want this to happen has never waned. There were, of course, grand plans to regenerate the site, so a lot of time and money has been spent fighting these plans. The Home Office has insisted time and time again that they are necessary and in the national interest. What this case is looking at is how it came to the decision to use R.A.F Scampton and whether it was lawful. West Lindsey District Council claims it wasn't on a number of grounds. We'll come to those in just a moment, but first let's take a look back at how R.A.F Scampton, which until relatively recently was the home of the Red Arrows, came to be at the centre of a High Court legal battle.
After decades of aviation history, R.A.F Scampton closed in late 2022. In March the following year, West Lindsey District Council announced it had agreed a landmark deal with developer Scampton Holdings to regenerate the site and bring £300 million of investment. But within days, reports emerged that the Home Office was considering using the site to house hundreds of asylum seekers. The plan was met with widespread anger and disbelief in the local area. And at the end of March, the Immigration Minister confirmed their fears.
These will be scaled up over the coming months and will collectively provide accommodation to several thousand asylum seekers.
The council soon began legal action, and in July, campaigners were overjoyed when West Lindsey District Council was given the green light for a full judicial review of the Home Office's plans.
We've got a stay of execution. Yeah, no, it feels brilliant.
But work to prepare the site, which was already underway, was allowed to continue, and frustration was growing every day at the lack of information coming from the Home Office. In August, it hosted a series of community engagement events, but they did little to quell local anger.
Everything's in motion and nothing can be turned around, so yeah, I've walked out.
They clearly have not got a plan ready. It's just abysmal, really.
Then in September, after being granted access to the site, the council issued a stop notice calling for all work to cease because it said it was in breach of planning rules. But it continued, with campaigners now camped outside the base, documenting daily progress. No asylum seekers have arrived yet, despite the Home Office suggesting it wants the centre fully up and running by Christmas. Campaigners hope if a decision in the High Court goes their way this week, that will never happen.
So Emma, what were West Lindsey District Council's arguments in court today?
Well, it says that the Home Office is wrongly relying on legislation known as Class Q, which essentially allows it to bypass normal planning rules in the case of an emergency for up to 12 months. The council says there was no emergency and that the Home Office never intended to just use the site for 12 months. And we heard about a letter sent just a few days ago from the Immigration Minister, which said that Class Q would be used to stand up the project in the initial phase, but then permission would be sought for a further 3 years. We also heard more about the financial costs involved. We heard that housing asylum seekers in hotels costs on average £151 per person per day. But we also heard that using Scampton was expected to cost around £141. And earlier I got the reaction of the Director of Planning at West Lindsey District Council to that.
We've been working really hard to protect our £300 million investment, and that's where the value for money case is fascinating. Such limited value for money benefits for using the site as an asylum centre versus the potential loss of £300 million.
And Emma, what does the Home Office say?
Well, the government's position has always been that creating accommodation for asylum seekers on former military sites is more appropriate and would reduce the use of expensive hotels, which simply, it says, is not sustainable. The Home Office says its plans to use Scampton are lawful and says the council's arguments have no merit. It will explain why in more detail when it makes its submissions tomorrow.
Emma Wilkinson at the High Court in London, thank you.